The Dallas Cowboys might have just pulled off one of the most under-theradar moves of the offseason, and it's starting to look like it could pay off in a big way. According to ESPN, the biggest surprise and winner for the Cowboys heading into training camp isn't who most people were expecting. It's cornerback Kyle Elam, the former first-round pick who came over from the Buffalo Bills in what looked like a quiet low-risk trade. But if you've been paying attention to OTA letters and minicamp, maybe it's not so surprising after all. Let's rewind just a bit. Elam came into the NFL with a lot of hype. Coming out of Florida, scouts were high on him: length, athleticism, ball skills, everything you want in a modern corner. The Bills saw the upside and took him in the first round, but things never really clicked in Buffalo. Whether it was a scheme fit, a confidence issue, or just the depth chart working against him, Elam never locked down a consistent role. He started only a dozen games in 3 seasons, managed just 2 interceptions, and by the end it was clear Buffalo was ready to move on. That's where the Cowboys stepped in, and boy does it look like they might have struck gold. ESPN's analysis pointed out how Elam has stood out this offseason. And if you've watched any of the media-available practice sessions, the buzz has been building. He's been around the ball constantly, multiple interceptions, multiple pass breakups, and even a few dropped picks that could have padded his stats even more. But what's more important than the highlight plays is that he looks like he belongs. He's moving fluidly, matching up well with receivers, and showing the kind of anticipation that made him a first-round prospect in the first place. And this isn't just empty praise. With Trevon Diggs and third-round rookie Savion Rebel still recovering from knee injuries, the Cowboys have needed someone to step up at corner, and Elam has answered that call early. Now it's important to remember it's still just OTA letters and minicamp. No pads, no full-speed collisions, and no live game reps yet. But even with that caveat, coaches pay attention to who flashes during these sessions. Elam has been one of the most consistent defensive performers on the field, and it's earned him what looks like a clear shot at a starting role heading into camp. With Darren Bland likely to handle duties inside as the nickel corner, it opens the door for Elam to line up on the outside. And if Diggs isn't ready for week 1, which is looking more and more likely, Elam might be one of your top 2 corners when the season kicks off. So how confident should Cowboys fans be in Kyle Elam? Is this a flash in the pan, or are we seeing the first signs of a breakout? It's fair to be cautious. After all, the track record in Buffalo wasn't exactly inspiring, but you've got to put context around that. Sometimes players just need a change of scenery. Sometimes all it takes is a new voice in the meeting room or a different scheme that better suits their style. And let's not forget, Dallas had a very high grade on Elam during the draft process. This wasn't just a flyer. This was a player they genuinely believed in back in the day, and now they're giving him another shot to prove it. There's also the issue of depth, or maybe the lack of it. The Cowboys have been thin at corner this offseason, between Diggs being out, Rebel still getting up to speed, and guys like Josh Butler and Andrew Booth missing time. The reps have gone to players further down the depth chart than you'd ideally like. That's given Elam a real chance to shine, not just in theory, but in practice, literally. When your second-team corners are made up of guys fighting for practice squad spots, it becomes very obvious when someone rises above the pack, and Elam has done that. He's been out there going against starters. He's seen a lot of action, and he's taking full advantage of the opportunity. Coaches have noticed, teammates have noticed, and now fans are starting to notice too. Of course, the real test is coming. When the pads go on, when the tempo ramps up, and when the preseason games start, that's when we'll see if Elam's off-season momentum carries over. But for now, he's done everything right. He's stacking good days, and that's exactly what you want to see from a player in his situation. What's especially encouraging is that he doesn't have to be a superstar for this to be a win. He doesn't need to become the next Trevon Diggs or go toe-to-toe with A.J. Brown and shut him down for 4 quarters. That would be great, of course, but let's keep expectations in check. If Elam can simply be a steady, reliable starting corner, someone who doesn't get picked on every week, someone who can hold his own, make a few plays, and not be a liability, that's a massive win. Remember, Dallas didn't give up much to get him. It was a small trade, some latter-round pick swaps, nothing major. If he turns into even an average starter, that's a big return on investment. Looking back at his draft profile, the talent was always there. He was ranked in the top 20 on a lot of boards and was the 4th cornerback taken in what turned out to be a strong class. The guys who went ahead of him, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Trent McDuffie, they've all become key pieces for their teams. Elam hasn't followed the same trajectory, but that doesn't mean the potential disappeared. Maybe it was never about the ability, maybe it was always about fit and opportunity. Dallas is giving him both now. It's worth noting that in that draft the Cowboys ended up taking Tyler Smith instead, one pick after Elam came off the board. That pick has worked out pretty well for them, but clearly Elam was someone they had their eye on. Fast forward to now and they've got both guys on the roster, one anchoring the offensive line, the other trying to reboot his career in a new setting. It's kind of a win-win if things go according to plan. There's a long way to go, of course. Training camp is where the real decisions get made. But Elam is doing everything you want a player in his shoes to do. He's healthy, he's locked in, and he's making plays. If he keeps this up, it's going to be very hard to keep him off the field. And that's exactly what Dallas needs. They can't afford another season of scrambling for answers at cornerback, throwing bodies out there hoping someone sticks. We've seen that before. Remember those stretches where they were trying Kelvin Joseph Noshin right, and even bringing in guys off the street just to get through the week? That's not sustainable. What the Cowboys need is stability, someone who can hold the edge, who can handle his assignments, who doesn't blow coverages or get flagged every other snap. Elam can be that guy. He doesn't need to be flashy, he just needs to be functional. And if he gives them that, especially early in the year, while Diggs and Rebel are still getting up to speed, it changes the whole dynamic of the defense. The bigger picture here is that Dallas might have found a real gem on the cheap, a first-round talent who just needed a fresh start. And now he's getting it in a system that believes in him, with coaches who are putting him in position to succeed. That kind of environment can do wonders for a player's confidence. And in the NFL, sometimes confidence is the missing ingredient. Elam has the tools. He always did. What we're seeing now is a player starting to believe in himself again. So what's your take? Are you buying the Kyle Elam breakout? Do you think this is the start of something special? Or are you still skeptical based on what happened in Buffalo? It's okay to feel a little bit of both. There's plenty of reason for optimism, but we've seen off-season standouts fade before. That said, the signs are good. The Cowboys needed someone to rise up in that secondary, and right now Elam's the guy doing it. Whether that carries into September remains to be seen, but if it does, this could end up being one of the smartest pickups of the entire offseason. And let's be honest, if you're a Cowboys fan, this is the kind of news you want to hear in July. There's a long road ahead, but finding unexpected contributors before the season even starts, that's how you build a complete roster. That's how you go from good to great. The foundation is there. Now we wait to see if Kyle Elam can take the next step and become not just a preseason surprise, but a reliable piece of this defense when it matters most. As training camp gets closer, the spotlight on Kyle Elam only grows. And it's not just about whether he can earn a starting role, it's about whether he can take that role and keep it, because the NFL isn't kind to feel-good stories. It doesn't care about comeback arcs or draft pedigree. If you're out there and you can't play, the tape will expose you, plain and simple. That's the challenge Elam's about to face. He's already started to win over coaches, sure, but the real test is coming. When the full team gets together in Oxnard, when the tempo picks up, and when players start competing for real jobs, that's where everything becomes crystal clear. And make no mistake, this cornerback battle is going to be one of the most intense in camp. Trevon Diggs, even coming off an ACL, is still the top dog when he's healthy. Darren Bland, with what he did last season, especially all those pick sixes, isn't going anywhere, but after that it's open season. You've got Elam, who's trying to capitalize on a second chance. You've got rookie Savion Rebel, who the Cowboys like a lot, but are still bringing along cautiously. Then there are veterans and fringe guys, some fighting for roster spots, others trying to prove they can contribute more than just on special teams. For Elam, the path is simple in theory: keep doing what he's doing. But we all know things get harder when the pads go on. That's when receivers get more physical. That's when tackling becomes real. That's when technique and discipline really show up or don't. And for a cornerback, especially in today's NFL, one bad practice can undo a week of solid ones. That's just how tight the margins are. But here's the thing, Elam seems to understand that now. You can hear it in the way he talks to reporters. You can see it in how locked in he's been during drills. He's not the same guy we saw in Buffalo. He's playing with urgency, like he knows this might be his last real shot to carve out a role in this league. And you know who else sees it? His teammates. That's something people outside the building often miss. Players know. They know when someone's just flashing in shorts and when someone's really putting in the work. They notice when a guy's improving, not just physically but mentally. And from everything coming out of the facility, the vets have taken to Elam. He's been sitting in extra meetings. He's staying after practice. He's asking questions. He's taking nothing for granted, and that's the kind of attitude that earns respect real fast. There's also a sense that the coaching staff has learned how to use him. In Buffalo, they tried to mold him into a zona heavy off-coverage guy, and that just didn't fit his strengths. He's a man-coverage corner. He wants to get his hands on you. He wants to challenge routes at the line. That's who he was at Florida, and that's what got him drafted. The Cowboys, with Dan Quinn's system evolving even more under Mike Zimmer, are leaning into that a bit more now. They're putting Elam in press situations. They're letting him play aggressive. And that subtle adjustment might make all the difference. Because when a player's technique matches his mindset, that's when the confidence starts to snowball. You break up a pass, then you pick one off. Then the next day you read a route perfectly and force a throwaway. And suddenly the coaching staff isn't just rotating you in their game planning with you in mind. That's what seems to be happening here. Kyle Elam isn't just surviving. He's starting to impose his style of play on this defense. And that's not easy to do, especially in Dallas, where the expectations are always sky high and the margin for error is razor thin. Now let's talk about the bigger picture here. Because Elam's rise isn't just about one player, it could end up reshaping how this Cowboys defense lines up in September if he continues to progress, if he locks down that outside corner spot opposite Diggs that lets Bland stay inside where he's most dangerous. It gives the Cowboys flexibility. They can disguise coverages better. They can take more risks with their blitz packages because they trust the back end. And in a division where you're facing guys like A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, and now Malik Neighbors, you need that flexibility. You need depth at corner. It's not optional. And let's not ignore the financial side of this either. The Cowboys are already staring down some big contract decisions. Dak, CD, Micah. If they can get solid play from a guy like Elam still on a rookie deal, that's huge. That's the kind of roster-building advantage that lets you pay your stars without gutting the rest of the team. It's exactly what the front office is hoping for. Low-cost, high-ceiling players who can step up when the lights come on. And Elam fits that mold perfectly if he can sustain it. Of course, nothing's guaranteed. You've got to stay healthy. You've got to stay consistent. And you've got to prove it all over again when the preseason games roll around. Because while practices matter, live reps under the lights matter more. That's where instincts really get tested. That's where we'll see if Elam can handle double moves, if he can track deep balls, if he can come up and tackle in space. And believe me, teams are going to target him. Offensive coordinators are going to test him early and often. That's just part of the deal when you're the new guy trying to establish yourself. But here's what gives you hope. He's not running from that challenge. He's leaning into it. He's embracing the competition. And when you pair that with his natural tools, that's a combination you can work with. Elam's always had the size. He's always had the speed. What he needed was the right situation. And for the first time in a while, it looks like he's found it. The Cowboys aren't asking him to be perfect. They're not expecting him to be a shutdown corner overnight. But what they do want is effort, discipline, and steady growth. And so far, Elam's checking those boxes. He's doing the little things. He's stacking good days. And more importantly, he's showing that the game is starting to slow down for him. That's when you know a corner is turning the corner, no pun intended, when he stops reacting late and starts anticipating early, when he stops playing scared and starts playing smart. That's the transformation we might be witnessing right now. And if that's the case, if Kyle Elam is really putting it all together, then the Cowboys may have just pulled off one of the sneakiest steals of the offseason. Because for all the big-name moves, all the draft picks, all the free agent signings, sometimes the biggest difference makers come from these kinds of under-third additions. A guy who most teams gave up on, a player who just needed one more chance. And now with a chip on his shoulder and a fresh start, he's got everything to play for. And Dallas might just be the perfect place for him to finally make good on all that potential. So as we get closer to camp, keep your eye on number 24. He might not be the flashiest name on the field, but he could end up being one of the most important. Because every good defense needs that unsung hero, the guy who steps up when others go down, who plays with grit, who earns his spot the hard way. That might be Kyle Elam this year. And if it is, the Cowboys secondary just got a whole lot stronger. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that could shake up the NFL landscape, rumors are swirling that the Dallas Cowboys are on the verge of signing All-Pro cornerback JALEN RAMSEY in a blockbuster trade. Although nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders suggest that the Cowboys are aggressively pursuing the star defender to bolster their secondary. Ahead of the upcoming season, JALEN, RAMSEY, known for his lockdown coverage and playmaking ability, has been one of the league's premier cornerbacks since entering the NFL. His combination of speed, physicality, and football IQ makes him a coveted asset for any team looking to upgrade their defense. For the Cowboys, a team always hungry for elite talent, acquiring RAMSEY would be a statement move, signaling their intent to contend at the highest level. Sources close to the negotiations hint that the Cowboys are willing to part with significant draft capital and possibly a key player to land RAMSEY, highlighting just how much they value his impact. The defensive backfield has been a question mark for Dallas in recent years, and RAMSEY's presence could transform their secondary into one of the most feared units in the league. The potential acquisition has sent waves through the NFL community, with fans and analysts speculating about how RAMSEY would fit into the Cowboys' defensive scheme. Some believe his ability to cover the opponent's top receiver Onionone would free up teammates to play more aggressively, improving the team's overall defensive efficiency. While the trade is still in the rumor stage, the buzz around RAMSEY and Dallas continues to grow. Could the Cowboys really pull off one of the biggest trades of the offseason? If the deal comes to fruition, it would undoubtedly alter the balance of power in the NFC East and possibly the entire NFL. As the situation develops, all eyes will be on Dallas, waiting to see if this blockbuster trade becomes reality. One thing is clear: adding an All-Pro like JALEN RAMSEY would instantly make the Cowboys a stronger, more intimidating team. Stay tuned as more details emerge in what could be the NFL's most talked about move this year. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.